everybody? It's time for another Talking with Topher. This is episode 293, and it is November 13th, 2025. And as always, I'm so pumped that we're still here and we're still alive. Let me get the housekeeping out of the way right away. Thank you, everybody, for subscribing. I greatly appreciate you. You're the reason I keep coming back week after week. If you're new, subscribe. Go ahead and hit that button, all right? And then, of course, you want to tell your story, get an opportunity to be a guest, talkinwithtopher at gmail.com. That's the official email of the podcast. Send an audio, video, or tap it out. Linktree, it's in the description below the video, along with all links discussed in this podcast today. Go check them out, do your own research, and see if you come to some of the conclusions that I come to. Don't forget about the mailbox guys and Cryptid and Kin. Both those links are also in the description below the video. And now with all the housekeeping out of the way, what's happening, everybody? This is a wild time to be alive, is it not? We're blowing up boats in the ocean. I think we're going to war with the cartel. Netanyahu does not give a shit about any type of deal that we're making. We're just going to bomb everybody. Who cares? He's got like this itch to scratch. You got Ukraine being told they're going to be given missiles that can reach Moscow. And Russia basically gave us the middle finger. We cut off ties with Canada. What's happening, everybody? Jesus Christ, what a wild time. You want to know what's even more wild than that? What I just found out. We got a ton of stuff to get into today, and here you go.
I believe I'm saying this, but I think NASA is starting to soft launch the idea of the firmament to the public. You know, the firmament that the one true living God, Jesus Christ, made on the second day of creation. Yeah, that one.
Earth is like our bedroom, cozy and safe. But it's inside a much bigger house that helps make our planet habitable. That house is our heliosphere, a giant protective bubble created by the sun.
So we live in a heliosphere, almost like the biblical firmament, and it's created by the sun. I've been talking about this. Polaris is the true sun. It is God's throne room. If you're new here, I have a ton of videos on this. It's biblical, and it's an antique piece of knowledge that we have lost.
It stretches beyond the planets and forms a boundary that protects our solar system from deep space. So, what does this house look like? Well, we don't actually know. The heliosphere is so huge that we can't just step outside and take a photo of the whole thing.
Oh, is that why every image has to be created with CGI? Is that something like the Van Allen belt that we can't get through to go back to the moon?
NASA has found ways to map out its boundaries. First, 2 spacecraft have actually passed through its walls and sent back measurements from outside. Voyager 1 passed through in 2012, and Voyager 2 made its own crossing 6 years later. But they only found the boundary in 2 specific places, and it took more than 35 years of space travel to get there. Luckily, there are other ways to study the heliosphere from inside. NASA's IMAP will use a technique kind of like listening for echoes that bounce off of our heliosphere's exterior walls. Instead of sound waves, these echoes are particles that ricochet off of the heliosphere's edges.
If I had to guess, this is probably the result of that.
By listening carefully, scientists can map the structure of our house from the inside, giving us a blueprint of our solar system's outer shell. Next time, how our heliosphere protects us from the dangers of deep space, and what happens when it fails.
I don't know about you guys, but I think they're going to have to get really open about this very, very soon, because there's some kind of biblical event, don't know what it could be, that's going to prove that the firmament is a real thing and that space is fake.
Oh my God, this is wild, dude. I think it was last week, maybe a couple weeks ago, it's like they're mainstreaming the firmament, right? They're actually telling the truth now. Now they're going to tell the truth. Just like what? They told us that, aliens were real. Hey, everybody, people suffer dearly for believing or talking about their experiences with aliens. And so, it brings me to that argument of like how can you believe anything that anybody out there tells us is true when hundreds, if not thousands of people suffered for, let's just go to the tip of the iceberg, right? One of the newest things that they've actually said is truth, which is that UFOs are real. Well, you were a crazy person 80 years ago if you said that you were abducted by an alien or saw a spacecraft. They were thrown in nut houses. You were treated as if you were absolutely insane. And today, they're like, nah, they were real. Yeah, I know. So, I believe that this is closer to the truth, and it's not a heliosphere. It's the firmament, everybody. It's shit, flat Earth, right? Why would they finally give in to another one of their deep lies? Because there's something else that's afoot here. There's something else that's going on. But they are creeping on the fact that the firmament, the heliosphere, flat Earth it's making its way into mainstream media. Now, why? Why is this all of a sudden okay? Because why did they allow aliens to come out? Why did they allow the UFOs to be looked at as, look, it's not a lie anymore. We lied to you. They are real. They're there. You know, they're there. Why? Because there's something bigger. There's something bigger that they want, right? What if it's Project Bluebeam? You know, that's why they said aliens are coming, right? Because they want to project aliens coming into so that they can control, right? So why are they going to want flat Earth? Well, if we have flat Earth, we have the firmament. Space is no longer real, which breaks a lot of our system, which would gain them more control. I think in actuality, by breaking a bond that we have to something and shattering people's beliefs, or allowing other people to finally be like, yes, you know, we were right. And I think that causes more divide. It causes more anger. It'll cause more arguing amongst citizens, because now you're talking about an entire friggin' system being completely broken, even amongst like major playing colleagues. So these people are going to get into giant argument. You know what I mean? I just think that's what they want, right? They want us angry with each other, fighting each other, so that they can release something that they can then go, hey, stop fighting each other, because now we have this bigger thing to deal with. And then after we're done dealing with the bigger thing, boom, here's all the control. Because they implemented and put this all into play from the beginning. Now, I know, well, entertainment purposes only, of course, but come on now, this is wild, all right? We got some crazy stuff going on. All right, so here's some advice for parents out there, I guess. I'm not saying this, but I do believe that this is the issue that we are having with our younger generation today, and the problem with allergies and food allergies and just all the things that I never grew up with, right? And it's so weird for me today to hear about all of these allergies that are happening. But one of the things that I did research is that everything has become extremely sterile. Okay, people have really leaned on sterilizing and cleaning, and that hand sanitizer you people keep using out there. Stop using it. It's so bad for you. I believe one of the reasons why, and one of the things that we're going to get into is is the simple fact of sanitization has gotten to an extreme. And if you are constantly sanitizing your hands after everything that you touch, do you know that you are destroying all of the good bacteria on your hands? You're destroying all the good bacteria on your wrists. If you wipe up your wrists a little bit, you do that up past the palm, all that skin has no bacteria on it, which you're probably like, yeah, that's great. No. You have no bacteria. You don't have good bacteria and you don't have bad bacteria. You have nothing. So the most attracted thing to your skin is bad bacteria. So technically, being too sanitized is unhealthy. That's what's happening in the delivery rooms. Because there's more C-sections and because there's less natural birth today, they are not passing through all of the blood and the placenta and whatever. What else is there? I don't know women's anatomy, and I've never had a child, so I'm sorry if I fucked that up. Don't care. But what they're supposed to pass through this stuff. There's supposed to be some stuff that comes out of the mom that's supposed to be inhaled by the child, and it's supposed to go through the system. Well, all of that gets wiped clean. All of that gets washed away. The child never touches it, never inhales it, never sees it. Sanitized from day one. That's where they're putting these problems at. The sanitization of the actual birth. Now you minus the actual, here's a peanut, here's this, try they're telling you today to not even do that for the most part. Well, this article here has the advice to feed babies peanuts early and often. It's helped 60,000 kids avoid allergies. Look, I don't believe that these allergies have to be a thing, but we have to expose them. And if they do have an allergic reaction to it, there's something else going on. There's more to it. I don't know what it is. I don't know. But I just feel like these allergies kind of came out of nowhere. And the more that we look into how sanitized our births are and how sanitized people are becoming, it's overwhelming the amount of sanitizing the hands, just in general, there is out there today. It's actually worrisome. I'm surprised. Let me throw this out at you. If you sanitize all the time, you're super, super crazy about it. Are you always sick too? Because I feel like you're a very sick person most of the time. And if that happens to ring true for you out there, it's time to go play in the dirt, man. You gotta go get dirty. You gotta implement these. You gotta get this stuff into your system in order for it not to affect you in a bad way. I think, and I'm a neat freak. I'm a neat freak, but I'm not a cleaning freak. Like, I don't know. Dust hangs out in my house forever. You know what I mean? I'm horrible at dusting, but everything has to be in a place, and there is a place for everything. So that's my disorganization. Even when they said that we needed to sanitize our food and stuff during COVID, I was like, that's too much for me. I'm not doing that. I'm literally not doing that. No. I'm not wiping down my groceries, and I'm not doing, no. So I had some lines that I drew, but I just don't know if everybody understands how much sanitization can actually hurt you. And it gets to a point where it's not helping anymore and it hurts. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, let's find out what they said about feeding your baby some peanuts early, trying to get rid of these allergies that I feel came out of absolutely nowhere.
New this morning, a study is showing the benefits of feeding babies as young as 4 months peanut products. Researchers at Children's Hospital of Pennsylvania say about 60,000 kids avoided developing peanut allergies by following that advice given in a study 10 years ago. Peanut allergies in high-risk kids fell about 40% once those recommendations were expanded in 2017. However, they say you should always speak to your pediatrician before actually introducing your child to peanuts or any other major food allergens.
And I do agree with that. Yeah. I'm not telling you to do any of this. I'm not telling you to stop sanitizing your hands. I'm not telling you to stop doing anything that you're doing. If you're good with it, you're good with it. But talk to your doctors. Look into this stuff, man. I'm telling you. And, you know, when you know, I'm just hoping that, like, I don't know. I just always felt like these allergies came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden it's like everybody's allergic. You can't have these things anywhere. And it used to be one of the biggest snacks that you could get on an airplane, anywhere. And now it's like you're looked at crazy if you bring, like, peanuts or peanut butter or anywhere in public now. Like, that's a major issue, everybody. That's like autism being 1 in 12 today. That's crazy. 60-90% of the population is allergic to peanuts, and 1 in 12 have autism today. Dude, we have got some horrible numbers leaning in the wrong direction, don't we? I think we do. What we got going on here is 3I_ATLAS. Now, I call it Atlas. They don't call it Atlas. But NASA has they're activating. Have you heard this? Planetary Defense Network for 3I_Atlas. I'm just going to call it Atlas from here on out. Buried in tonight's official MPEC, the Minor Planet Center's International Bulletin, is an editorial notice that says it all. Announcement of Iowan Comet Astronomy Campaign, November 27, 2025. The campaign will target Comet Atlas. Be clear, this is not a Reddit rumor, not a 4chan leak. This is straight from the IAU, hosted on Harvard's Minor Planet Center, issued on behalf of NASA's International Asteroid Warning Network, the same group that coordinates global tracking in planetary defense scenarios. So this is what is happening. For the first time in history, an interstellar object, namely Atlas, has been formally enrolled into a planetary defense level observation campaign. They're calling it a test of improved astronomy methods. In other words, the object isn't behaving like it should. The bulletin admits cometary bodies are extended, features that can systematically pull their centroid measurements off their center brightness peak, meaning that the light and mass don't line up. Exactly the issue astronomers have been speaking about for months. Atlas Photometric Center is offset from the orbital predictions. Here's the timeline they quoted. Let's see, November 25th was kickoff meeting. November 27th to January 27th is the global observating window. Closeout telecon February 3rd. The window covers Pilar through Earth's near pass. Atlas will be closest, brightest, and most unstable. So after months of near total science, NASA, ESA, and the IAU just activated the Planetary Defense Network, but they did it under the cover of an astronomy exercise. They never released this. They never talked about it. They just did it. So they think this thing's a problem. And I don't know if you've looked into this or read about it or anything. One of the last things that I read is that it was going to directly hit our sun. I mean, can we stop that if that was to happen? I don't think we can, everybody. I believe that they have told us things that they are not capable of doing it all. They're not capable of doing it. There's no Mars trip, dude. Those poor people that are going to get shot off to Mars in, 2028? If that was when the one-way tickets? Dude, you just bought yourself on a one-way ticket in a tube to nowhere. Never going to get to a planet. You're never going to land on a planet. It's not going to happen. I will never believe you. Because we all know where Mars is located anyways. But for them to say that this thing needs to be observed, it is a problem, and it is possibly going to hit our sun. I mean, I bet you that's going to be the coolest solar flare ever. So, real quick on this one, because I thought this would be interesting to talk about. Now, I've talked about Amelia Earhart, or we've learned about Amelia Earhart in school. I don't know if they still teach you this, but she was, an aviist. She flew planes, and she wanted to go around the world or something, and she got to a point which was always the Bermuda Triangle. Lots of planes disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle was this thing like UFOs. Back in the day, but I do have to say in the last 30 years, I've never heard of I haven't even heard of the Bermuda Triangle coming up. It's not even a thing anymore. It's like we all gravitated to the ice wall instead. Or the depths of Antarctica, where many people have disappeared. So I think the Bermuda Triangle, I don't know, maybe it faded away, maybe it became less of an issue, but supposedly she flew through it, never to be found again, gone, disappeared, right? So, as of October 2nd, Amelia Earhart's long-lost plane, likely located in Lagoon, expedition team claims citing very strong evidence. Now, this would be really cool because she disappeared in 1937, and here we are almost 100 years later, right? We're 12 years off. So what does that put us at? 88 years? 88 years later, they may have found the plane about 400 miles southeast of Howland Island. And that is Taraha Object, no, Nikamaro. Small island in Kiribati. Halfway between Australia and Hawaii. Okay. So I'm not sure on her flight path where that exactly lands. But, I mean, if her plane was actually found, I mean, that's crazy, man. That's crazy that we found her, possibly found her plane 88 years ago. Now, my question is her skeleton still inside? Because what if the hatch never popped or broke, right? And yet the water seeped in when it sank. And she was locked in it. Oof. Ugh. I mean, I don't want to think about that because it gives me the heebie-jeebies. But, I mean, bones don't lie, right? Holy shit, dude. For me, this was really, really nostalgic because we learned about this, in school, you know? And I think they got a short video on it. So here, let's check this out. Just so the younger generation can understand, because I don't know if they even teach you this stuff in school anymore. This was a big thing when we were in school.
What happened to Amelia Earhart? It's a mystery that's captivated the world for nearly 90 years now. And now a new mission could bring us closer to the truth. We take a look in The Answer.
A mission to uncover the past. Aviation pilot Amelia Earhart and navigator Fred Noonan went missing in 1937 while attempting a round-the-world flight. Nearly 90 years later, answers as to what happened to them may be on the horizon. Last week, President Trump ordered his administration to declassify and release all government records related to Earhart. Next month, an expedition team will set out to confirm whether an object detected in the lagoon of a small island about halfway between Hawaii and Australia is Earhart's plane, a Lockheed Model 10 Electra. It's been dubbed the Taraya object.
We gathered up many more satellite images, did historical research, found other imagery that relates to it. We're going to go look and identify it. And if we're right, then we will, in fact, identify the lost Electra. We could be wrong, but I think the evidence is very, very strong that this is, in fact, what it is.
In the beginning of November, a crew plans to travel to the Marshall Islands and spend 5 days inspecting. If the effort confirms the plane's identity, excavations will take place next year to try to return what remains of the aircraft. And that's the answer.
Huh. So that did not look like a plane to me in the water. Like, it just did not look like a plane. I was looking for it. I kept looking for it. I don't see a plane, so I hope they pull one out of the sand. But, man, for me, very, very nostalgic. And if they actually do figure it out, that is going to be wild, man. So we'll have to go through the flight plan again. So she was going around the world, but Amelia Earhart's plane might have been located. And I know they kept saying 90, but it's 88 years. 88 years later, everybody. Wild. Now, you still eating McDonald's? Yeah? All right. Check this out.
This is the real Ronald McDonald House, a house built for sick children with doors that lock from the outside. Since the 1970s, families have checked in. Thousands of kids, smiling clowns painted on the walls, beds lined in rows, kitchens full of casseroles left overnight. But no public record shows how many of those children ever went home. Former staff whispered of hallways where some doors had no numbers, only blank plaques. Parents reported children waking with needle marks on their arms, though no nurse had placed them. In Chicago, fire inspectors wrote that the basement was coated with lead paint, vents that ended in concrete. The report vanished within weeks. Families kept thanking the charity. They posed for photos, cut ribbons, said they were grateful. But the same story spread online. We checked in. In the morning, our child was gone. We were told he had been moved. We never saw him again. The network kept growing. Now, more than 350 houses across the U.S., always beside children's hospitals, always smiling, always expanding. When you see Ronald McDonald offering shelter, remember, charity doesn't keep a ledger, and not every child checks out.
That is crazy. I'm not sure, everybody, right? This is for entertainment purposes only. But I feel like there's something between McDonald's and human meat and just torturing children. I mean, I do believe that the people that are supposed to be portrayed as the nicest, happiest people are the meanest, most sadistic, evil people we will ever stand next to, as they smile right to your face, and at the same time, they are just mentally tearing you apart because they want to do it physically as well. I do. And you're going to see a little hint of that as we go along a little bit further in this podcast. But, I mean, I don't know. McDonald's has got some shady stuff going on. And, I mean, I'm not one to say that it can't be true. But I am one to say that this is for entertainment purposes, and you should look into it for yourself. Now, this one I found absolutely hilarious because, again, we are going to push climate change on the people. Now, you ready for this, everybody? Because I just kind of feel bad because you already have so much trouble breathing. But there you go. Now, you could be the cause of climate change.
The millions of Americans who struggle with chronic lung disease, including asthma, may be adding to a global issue. According to new research, medication inhaler sprays are adding to pollution. Experts say it's not the medicine that's the problem, but the propellants in the inhalers. The study says the impact of pollution from those inhalers was equivalent to driving more than 500,000 cars a year.
I love it. I love it. No matter, it doesn't matter. It will always be our fault for climate change. Now the people that can't breathe, the people that need inhalers, now you are causing more CO2 than 1,000 cars on the road extra a year. I mean, I obviously do not believe this one iota. But what the fuck, man? This is what they're telling all of you. That your inhaler is causing climate change. I don't know how much more I can prove my point. I'm just moving on from this. It's so mind-boggling how they think that, like, what am I supposed to do? Not use my inhaler? You fucking twat. I don't understand. I just don't. I don't. If you believe this, I'm so sorry you believe this, because this is a fucking joke at this point. Now diving back into how I feel like the happiest people are the most evil and sadistic people on the planet. And I do have to preface this right off the bat. This is for entertainment purposes only. But I feel highly, strongly, and confident about this. So let's check it out, dude. This is wild. Wild, everybody.
And I told Ellen that I needed to have friends. She said she did not want to have a girlfriend that needed that. And that is the day I left. Why do you think she tried to put me in an institution, folks? I called my mother. Guess what? 2 people who wanted more than anything to have my truth buried. It was not my time.
Connie Heche was just starting to expose her ex-girlfriend Ellen DeGeneres when she died in a bizarre car crash. The toxicology report showed she was sober. And when they pulled her from the wreckage, she wasn't dead. She was trying to get off the stretcher.
Ann Heche has died. Her vehicle ran off the road at a high rate of speed and collided into a house in L.A. last Friday.
But what's even scarier than this video of Ann struggling to get away is what happened just weeks before she died. Ann was talking to Ellen's DJ Twitch, and she warned him to watch his back. But next thing you know, just 4 months after Ann's fatal car crash, Twitch dies too. He supposedly took his own life just days before Christmas. No warning, no note, just walked from his home one morning and was found dead hours later in a nearby motel.
What do you think? What do you think, huh? I told you. I'm telling you, man. What? Bill Cosby wasn't drugging people? I'm telling you, man. The nicest portrayed people on television, the people that are supposed to be just the model citizen, you know, the family going people, dude, dark people. They've got some massive stuff going on. Never mind the fact that I think Ellen is definitely part of the Illuminati. She's got her hands in this shit. Absolutely. So I put her on the same level as all the rest of them. You know, they're all sitting there at the table together, man. And they are evil people that will do anything to keep their secrets a secret. You know what I mean? Wild, dude. Wild. So, we're going to run down a rabbit hole of some more stuff leading to, like, just the overall, man, look, I'm not saying that every single Jew out there is a bad person, okay? What I am saying is that I'm very angry with Israel and the genocide and where everything's going. So as of right now, I see every Jewish thing as a evil, disgusting thing right now. And, you know, that's how they wanted us to look at the Nazis for doing what they did to them. And now that they're doing it to somebody else, we're all supposed to just look the other way. When they've destroyed and killed more people than 18 Hiroshima bombs. 18! Although Hiroshima was terrible, and I do believe we killed Americans in that too. Where we dropped that bomb was a very interesting location if you look more into it. But beyond that point, I'm not digressing right now. I just see them as very evil people, and we can't ignore the fact that, well, I'm watching this shit on TikTok and X and everywhere else, man. It's just grotesque. I hate it. And this ceasefire is doing exactly what I thought it was going to do. Nothing. Innocence. I showed, last week or a week before? Just innocent people trying to just go back to where they said they could go back to, and they just blow them up. And there was a reporter in there, too. So they're just doing the same shit. The ceasefire means nothing, and I think they're fucking evil people. So here we go.
Book, Israel, Our Duty, Our Dilemma, I detail how Judaism was corrupted by the occult and immoral practices of Babylon. Let's touch very briefly on just one aspect of such depravity, pederasty, or the sexual molestation of children. Today, the greatest rabbis of the Talmud would be locked up as child molesters. Pederasty was deeply entrenched among the most respected Talmudic rabbis. It was taken for granted that the local rabbi could acquire a baby girl at 3 years of age as his sex toy simply by raping her. Here are several passages from many in the Talmud granting such permission. In Nida 45b, a woman asks, "Master, at what age may a woman marry?" "At the age of 3 years and 1 day," he told her. A girl of 3 years and 1 day may be betrothed by intercourse. Rabbi Joseph said, "Come and hear. A maiden of 3 years old and a day may be acquired in marriage by coition." When a grown-up man has intercourse with a little girl, it is nothing. The footnote to this passage says, "Tears come to the eye again and again. So does virginity come back to the little girl under 3 years." Although the Talmud forbids homosexuality among adult Jews, sodomy with small boys is permitted. Leviticus 20:13 forbids sexual relations between men. The Talmud, however, defines a boy under 9 years of age as a minor, not a man. He is excluded from the biblical prohibition. Since the boy is not sexually mature, the Talmud teaches, he cannot throw guilt upon the rabbi who rapes him. Only he who is able to engage in sexual intercourse may throw guilt upon the active offender, whilst he who is unable to engage in sexual intercourse cannot.
It is significant that the pederasty we have mentioned is endorsed by the very greatest rabbis of the Talmud. These include Rabbi Ben Zakkai, Rabbi Ben Yohai, and Rabbi Akiba.
I just don't understand it, man. Catholic Church is no different. I mean, it really isn't. Right? What is with all of them? Priests, rabbis, all these people. Why are they attracted to children? Why? Like, just get married. Just allow them to have sex. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you? You obviously are all mentally fucking ill. All religions. Any person who touches a child is mentally ill. I'm done. This is gross. It's so gross. All we do is shift them around and send them back to the Vatican, where nothing can be done about it. These fucking sickos. 3 years of age. Any boy under 9. It's written in the book that they read every single day. So obviously they believe this stuff. That is wrong. It's wrong. These people are mentally ill. They are sick people. 0 to like 11. Really don't have much to talk about. I find it very hard and awkward. I wish more people felt that way towards kids. I really do. I think that would be better for the kids. I really do. If more people were just like put off, it was awkward, and they didn't even want to talk to them, don't you think it would be a better world for the kids? But these people, man, I am just, like, what? Nobody else see this as a mental illness? Ugh, gross. Just gross. Here's some more verses from the Talmud. Just disgusting, dude. Disgusting, which is why it needs to be exposed. Fuck it. Ugh, gross. Gross.
Before that, can I actually read you
read me whatever you'd like to do.
Yeah, there's some verses that I actually pulled out of the Talmud. And,
go ahead. Yeah.
And this is not going to be me trying to argue it or anything of the sort. I'm just going to read it plainly from the Talmud itself. Like if you look at Sanhedrin 59a, murdering Goyim is like killing a wild animal. Avodah Zarah 26b, even the best of the Gentiles should be killed. Sanhedrin 59a, a Goy who pries into the law, which means the Talmud, is guilty of death. This is why you can't even trust a Jew when you're talking about the Talmud, because they're trained to lie about it in the first place. Or you look at Liber David 37. To communicate anything to a Goy about our religious relations would be equal to the killing of all Jews. For if the Goyim knew what we teach about them, they would kill us openly. Can you make this up? Yevamot 11b. Sexual intercourse with a little girl is permitted if she is 3 years of age. Hikkuth Hakam X1. Do not save Goyim in the danger of death. In the same excerpt, show no mercy to the Goyim. Like, I can go on and on. I basically was prying into the Talmud, what was it, I think 8 months ago, and I just pulled out all these verses. Like, again, this is a salient theme. If it was something that showed up once in a while, I would be like, okay, this is weird. Let's talk about this. Why is this repetitive throughout the entire book? I can scroll forever on this. Like, what does that say about the faith, where a big part of their faith is, once again, the separation of the chosen and their cattle? That's why, ultimately, they're trained to not care about us.
Yep. Isn't that fucking nice, everybody? That's what I'm saying, dude. It's like, it's just, it's crazy to me. So, like, that Talmud, they're supposed to lie about it because everything that they read about and that they teach each other about is so dark and so wrong that we would openly kill them, which is what Hitler was doing. He was trying to stop this, which is wild to me. Dude, crazy. I'm like, they are evil people. They've been evil people. They are still evil. If you follow this book, if they follow this book, oh my God. If they are still reading this book and doing those things, they are literally traumatizing every child that they come in contact with. And as it cries, they're just like, yeah, its virginity is coming back as it cries. What? Dude, that is twisted. That's twisted. And so wrong. So wrong. Here's some more on it. Let's keep going.
Today is more akin to witchcraft than it was prior. And it changed prior to Jesus coming. In fact, Jesus actually said to the Jews, he said, you're not of God, or you would have recognized me. He said, you're of your father, the devil. And if you understand witchcraft and how that kind of formed, Judaism was sort of the head of witchcraft. And it still is to this day. Jesus came to do away with religion. And the reality is there were other gods. God actually says he stands amongst the midst of the gods. In the Bible. Okay. He's Elohim of Elohim. So there's other Elohims. And it mentions it multiple times in the Bible. He is the God of gods.
It's just wild to me, man. I'm more fixated on the fact of the evilness and the child stuff that more than anything. But, I mean, also pointing to the fact that it could be, it's witchcraft and Satan worshiping. So, all the child stuff makes sense. All the stuff that they do makes more sense when you look at it from that angle. So continuing on here, we are going to be talking about Benjamin Franklin and the Jews. This came from an address delivered by Benjamin Franklin before the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia in 1787, people. This is another warning, another thing coming up about Jews just being, well, I guess, evil. So, in quotations, this is said by Benjamin Franklin. In whatever country Jews have settled in any great numbers, they have lowered its moral tone, depreciated its commercial integrity, have segregated themselves, and have not been assimilated, have sneered at and tried to underdetermine the Christian religion, have built up a state within a state, and have, when opposed, tried to strangle that country to death financially. If you do not exclude them from the United States in the Constitution in less than 200 years, they will have swarmed in such great numbers that they will dominate and devour the land and change our form of government. If you do not exclude them in less than 200 years, our descendants will be working in fields to furnish the substance, while they will be in the counseling house rubbing their hands. I warn you, gentlemen, if you do not exclude the Jews for all time, your children will curse you in your graves. Jews, gentlemen, are Asiatics. They will never be otherwise. Wow. This was said in 1787. That means in 1987, it was 200 years. So, my question to everybody, 1987, how much of a stronghold do the Jews have on our society, within our politics, and were they correct? Because we didn't write them out, you know? And like, so at this point in time, you know, they're just being deemed as evil to the left and to the right of us. And it's pretty wild when these things are coming up, because we are also getting stuff like this, man. This is crazy, and it goes into all the stuff that I am just, you know, as this comes in, man, I just have to, I don't know if I'm really changing my opinion on things, but man, I'm starting to dig my heels in and just be like, nah, there's no turning back from this. Let's just listen to what this one has to say. It's crazy to me, man. It's crazy to me that every week there can be more and more stuff on how toxic this religion is, and yet we're supposed to sit here and believe that the things that we're seeing today are not happening, right? It just blows my mind.
Are they almost all Jewish or all gay? You have a thought on that?
You know, I don't.
Maybe they're homosexual, maybe they're gay because they're rejecting creation and they're choosing to be the creators. And they're creating artificial intelligence. They're creating these new systems. Like Larry Ellison said, most of this tech is coming out of Herzliya outside of Tel Aviv. And so if they're rejecting creation and they're usurping the creator to become the creator, this is exactly what the Jews were accused of in the Bible too. And remember, these chat bots, ChatGPT, even Grok, with bizarre prompts, giving people instructions specifically on how to offer sacrifices to Rimfam or Moloch. This is mainstream news. You could look this up. And how to commit suicide, like Yuval Harari, Sam Altman, these powerful homosexual Jews. That's what they are. If they were Muslims, people would have no issue calling them Muslims. It makes me think of the Pharisees.
See, and that's what I'm saying to you. Like, why is the correlation between all of this the same over and over again? Evil, overpowering, want to control, strongholding, strangling by financial. They're just constantly, well, yeah, let's transgender, let's do this, because it destroys societies. And I'm pretty sure that this is what everybody was trying to stop. Every time, and I'm not saying it's all of them, right? Like somebody brought up the Muslim thing. Not all Muslims, man. I know, I get it. I know. But the majority of the people in power, the majority of the people that have an actual say now within our government, okay? Let's not talk about citizens of the United States that are Muslim, that are practicing more American ways within their Muslim religion. But the politicians, the people that have power, are looking at this as an opportunity to implement what they want to implement, and it's not what we all think is freedom or America. So that's what I was saying, right? And I do appreciate the comments. Keep them coming, But, I mean, is it a possibility that they're portraying all of their beliefs onto us? And Israel is just, I just believe it's evil. I just believe it's evil. I'm so sorry, everybody. I just don't know what to say, man. To see what we're seeing over and over and over again. I mean, there is people living in Gaza right now that are streaming. And as of 3 days ago, which this is coming out in like two weeks, I think. I mean, just living in a war zone still. It was supposed to be a ceasefire. It's never gonna be a ceasefire. And I'm sorry, we should be able to say and point this out because it's right in front of our faces. We're not blind. Well, all of us are not blind. And you can definitely tell the difference between AI and people as of right now. It is getting more difficult. We are on the verge of seeing something anew. We're in the middle of it. This is the beginning. And yet we're all looking at it like we've seen it before or this is fine. Yeah, we have seen this before, and we've seen governments and countries stand up to it. Are we going to stand up again? Or are we just going to let it fold this time because it's been well over 200 years? Your life will never be the same again. Harold Wallace Rothenhall tells all. This, I just want you all to hear because I'm telling you, man, there is so much to the background of Israel and Jews that I believe this is the stuff that we need to be talking about because I really do feel like we have been lied to for a very long time. I feel like this is something that is going to get exposed and it's going to be one of the big ones. You know what I mean? Finding out that entertainment purposes only, again, my thoughts, personal. What if Hitler was trying to stop all this from happening and they found a way to turn everybody against him? And he wasn't actually trying to implement some crazy dictatorship and all of this. He was just trying to cleanse and get rid of all the child molesters. And he just realized that like an entire religion was based upon just diddling children. I mean, oh, if that is true, dude, I'm on his side 1,000%. How many times have I said, if you have touched a child, you should no longer breathe oxygen? I've said it quite a few times on this podcast. I have, and I say it quite a few times in real life when we talk about them amongst our friends and family. Those people do not deserve to breathe. And if that's what he was eradicating, I really have a hard time saying that that was a bad idea. I do, because I agree. I don't think they deserve to breathe. But let's check this out.
The Jews. What did he want from them? How did they bother him? But it's all written here in Mein Kampf. This book was published only recently. It just got approved to be translated to Hebrew. It was forbidden all these years. But there's an earlier translation. It was made by Yad Vashem. They were allowed to. Hitler claims in his book that the Jews are communists. They made the Russian Revolution. They killed their 30 million Russians, all the intelligent ones, in a cruel and horrific way. And that's their plan for the entire world. The next country in line is Germany. They founded the German communist and socialist parties, and it's true. If we don't defeat them now, they will eliminate us, and they will slaughter another 20 million, all the intelligent people. And that's how they want, from country to country. So eventually, the only intelligent ones remaining would be the Jews. And he repeats it many times. Make no mistake. And he is right. The Russian Revolution was made by the Jews. The Russian army was built by Trotsky, who was an incredible genius and anti-Semite like no other. He created the Jewish division of the Communist Party, which members inform on their father, mother, brother, and son. Whoever owns a Siddur, or even a Hebrew learning book. I'm not even talking about Teflin or Mikvah. He destroyed everything, also by the Jews, but for sure by the Russians. In the first picture of the Russian government, out of 13 members, 6 were Jews. Who founded the KGB? Jews. So everything is clearly written. He didn't hate the Jews because they had pios. He didn't hate them for observing mitzvot because they are communists. And he writes it clearly. The Jews destroyed religion and faith. They spread in Germany the heresy in God. That's how he writes. I feel like the messenger of God to exterminate the Jews because they don't believe in him. He writes this right here. Now you understand why they don't teach it in schools? Because who writes the curriculum? Those same leftists. Of course they do not write that Hitler wanted to kill the Jews, because they are the forefathers of the left, and the forefathers of Marxism, communism, and Leninism. But that's what he writes. They destroyed all the values, poisoned literature and theater. Who did it? Torah-observant Jews poisoned the German theater? Out of 9 large German newspapers, 7 were owned by Jews. So do you understand why it's forbidden here to teach about him?
Dude, this stuff, man, keeps coming up. I'm telling you, I don't know what else to say except for the simple fact that, like, if we don't talk about this and we don't point it out, then we're no better. We're no better. Remember when I said that history is written by the winners, right? Well, they've been writing the history forever now. And I'm sorry, I think it's time to break this down. Dude, if UFOs are real, the firmament is coming to light, then I think it's time to start digging into the rest of these things, which is Hitler was not getting rid of the Jews because of their religion or anything else. He was doing it because they were literally taking over. They were communists. They were child molesters. I might have to bleep that word out. I mean, they were just evil people. They didn't believe in God. Therefore, they wanted to get rid of them because of the fact that they didn't believe in God. Look, it's a lot. It's layered, right? But the stuff that they don't teach in school is probably the most important information, right? All the information that they left out. Why he was actually doing it. What he actually said. What his speech actually sounded like, right? Let's leave out all the details because back then we had no Google Translate. We had no way to figure it out. Well, now we do. And we're starting to figure it out. that we were on the wrong side of history for a lot of shit. So this is wild to me, because just like the super over friendly actor, actress, TV person just smiling in your face and doing evil, despicable things when you're not looking, I feel like the Jews are doing the same today. Lying about everything, had their hands in everything, and manipulated everyone into believing this story of being a victim, which may turn out to be a lot like the Me Too movement, where too many people jumped on the bandwagon, and a lot of them had false claims behind it. I don't know. Could it be a false claim to victimhood? Could we have been lied to our faces and taught lies in school my entire life? And everybody out there wonders why I have a hard time believing? Maybe it's a wonder. I wonder why you have such a hard time, or maybe I wonder why you have such an easy time believing everything that they tell you. Because when I hear this shit, man, this is crazy. This is like, wow, I have really, really been lied to. And this is out of this world, dude. Out of this world. But yet, we're supposed to look at everything today and we're supposed to be like, it's not a genocide. It's fine. It's fine, right? It's just fine and dandy what these people are doing. I just don't believe that it is. But this I found very interesting, because I was talking about the Muslim Brotherhood. We're talking about Islam taking over the United States, the major cities that these things are happening in. Well, do you know who created Islam? Well, I guess we're going to find out together, because I already watched this. Man, it's wild. And it just goes to show you that, like, no religion is a good religion. I'm sorry. You can believe in God if you want. You can believe in God. But I don't think you have to be a Catholic, a Muslim, or anything. I don't think that category has to exist. I don't. I think you just have to go, I believe in God. And if you believe in him, you believe in him. He doesn't care if you're Catholic, if you're Islamic. He doesn't care if you're Jewish, you're this. It doesn't matter. That piece of the puzzle, I think, is the evil. And if I'm closer off, Miguel, let me know in the comments, because I'm starting to feel and understand in my own mind that any named religion that exists today is just evil. They're all evil. They're all evil. So I am going to start believing in God, but I do not want to call myself any religion whatsoever. I think that's what I want to 86 out of my life. But I do believe there is a God up there. I'm just not going to tie it to any one of these religions. That's where I'm at right now.
The Quran, the Catholic Catechism in our library out here. You can read it for yourself. Some of the things they believe are pretty interesting. They say in the Catholic Catechism, 841, the Church's relationship with the Muslims is the plan of salvation also includes those who acknowledge the Creator, the first place among whom are the Muslims. These profess to hold the faith of Abraham, and together with us they adore the one merciful God. There's an excellent little bitty comic book called The Prophet you can get from our ministry. It's like $2 or something like that, by Jack Chick. He goes through the history of the Muslim church and how they started. Very few people realize it was the Catholics that started Islam. They started the whole religion purposely
to try and get the Holy Land back for the Catholics. They built up the Islam, they funded Muhammad, they trained him, They sent a Catholic nun out of the monastery, and they said, this is what we want you to come out of your covenant. Go find young, promising Muslim, marry him, and train him to raise an army of Arabs to take back the Holy Land for the Mother Church. Quiet, an interesting story. You want to read about that. It started to work, but then it failed because Islam got so big, they said, well, forget you Catholics. We're doing what we want. And I don't think most Muslims, which is now what, 10-20% of the world population, Islams, I don't know if that they're really started off as a front for the Catholic Church. What? Dude. The Catholic Church started Islam in order to try and get the Holy Land back, but it got so popular and they liked it so much, they were like, nah, we don't want to be Catholic. We like being Islam. And these guys are like, no, we made this up. It was fake. It was so we could get our shit back. Well, we don't care. We like it better than what you're trying to do, so we're not doing your thing now. And now it is 10 to 20% of the world population, and it is embedding itself in America here today. Look at this. Can't look at the music. Minneapolis, Texas. Look at this. This is crazy. Who will defend America? California. This is a massive invasion, everybody. Nobody else finds this to be an issue today. Illinois. How about New York? Nothing? New Jersey? Not bothering you yet? Ohio? No? Nothing? From anybody? Virginia? I mean, this is wild, everybody. This is crazy. Colorado. Oh, my God. Alabama. Wow. Wow. Arizona. Dude, that's a full, what is that? That's a football field. So for a religion that the Catholics started and then was adopted by these people that they brought it to then be turned into a real religion because they liked it better than the Catholics, which, okay. And now it is being implemented into our judicial law. Islam religion made up by the Catholic religion is now being implemented into American law. Just let that sit. They've already done it. New York has the bells going off. Muhammad is fake. Muhammad is fake, everybody. Made up. Just a guy that married a nun who left the covenant. So, I wonder if we could find that guy's picture. Because we're not supposed to see Muhammad, right? Isn't that the whole thing behind it? Well, that's fake too. Catholics made that. It's all fake, everybody. And I don't know, I'm going to spit on it a little bit, but yo, what's going on with the gambling? That's going so deep that let's just put it out there. Sports are fake. Go ahead, look into it. I'll be talking about it. It is crazy news breaking right now. Not enough information on it for me, but holy shit, everybody. If you find out that the last 20 years of sports was all directed and set up to be the way that it was, woo, crazy news, bud. Crazy news. Now, let's check out this. Alleged audio of 4 fallen angels locked up under the Euphrates River. Have you heard of the Euphrates River? It's drying up, and supposedly there was some fucking things hidden under it that were never supposed to escape.
As the great river Euphrates, the angel poured out his vial upon it, and the water was dried up. And here we are, and the river Euphrates is starting to dry up, and that's starting to give us some interesting things happening out there. Not just the water being dried up, but what's underneath the Euphrates. You see, it turns out that when the Euphrates River goes down and it dries up, you kind of tend to find things that you didn't know were really there, including possible caves and things that kind of look like jail cells. And so why would there be caves or jail cells under the Euphrates River? Well, let me tell you, it turns out that there's more biblical prophecy in Revelation talking about fallen angels, specifically 4 of them that are chained and bound underneath the Euphrates River, waiting to be released at a set time. You see, in Revelations 9:13, it says, "Then the 6th angel blew his trumpet, and I heard a voice speaking from the 4 horns of the gold altar that stands in the presence of God." Verse 14, "And the voice said to the 6th angel who held the trumpet, release the 4 angels who were bound at the great Euphrates River." You see, recently, with the waters receding in the Euphrates, people have been kind of getting down in those areas where those caves and what seem like possible jail cells are, and they're bringing audio recorders. And what they're finding through the audio are moans and groans and growls and sounds like chains, like something's locked up. Those are the sounds that were supposedly recorded at the Euphrates River around those caves/jail cells that were supposedly uncovered as the waters receded. Now, if these are true, it would seem to be a prophecy coming true. And what does that mean for us as humans? Are we living in the end times where all hell is going to break loose on earth?
I don't know, and I don't think so. We keep going back to the end of the world thing, and I don't believe that the end of the world is coming, everybody. I don't think the axis has been tipped. I don't think 3-Eye Atlas is going to smack the sun. I don't think any of this shit's going to happen, dude. We're going to keep doing what we're doing day in and day out, and these government officials and these things are going to keep robbing our pockets. We're all going to wind up poor. We're all going to wind up probably killing each other out on the streets just to get a bite to eat. That I do believe is all going to happen, but the world's never going to end. That's just one of those fictitious things they keep throwing out there. But what if these things underneath this river, whatever, were actually fallen angels? So when does the trumpet play? What does it sound like? Has it already been blown? I don't know. Like I said, man, a lot of these religious books have a lot of stories that correlate amongst each other. I don't know how many of them are true, but if there's going to be a rapture or angels and demons fighting and this and that, I'm not so sure about that. That just sounds like a really good time to me personally. I mean, the way everything's going, wouldn't that be like so relieving? Just watch these guys just fucking destroy everything around us as they fight each other. I don't know. I feel like if we don't see something like that, we're just going to watch ourselves destroy everything we've built. It's inevitable at this point. I just see everything collapsing, you know. Inflation's up 3%. Jobs are down, 40%. 60% of people are paycheck to paycheck, or in more just racking up credit card debt to make it by today. That's only going to get worse. And so if you don't see everything just getting worse and utilize maybe stuff like this or any type of escape that you can get to get away from it, I just don't know what you're doing today, I mean, there is a lot of stuff going on. It all seems like it's pretty bad, pretty negative, and it's, it's all affecting to our happiness, our longevity, and our money. So, I mean, that's really all it affects, right? Doesn't affect anybody else on the top. It just affects all of us down here. So, I like to find some ways to get away from it, and thinking about maybe some fallen angels being released back into the world to, I don't know what they're going to do, but it sounds entertaining to me at this point. I'd watch that. Now, this is really neat. I thought this was really, really, really cool. This is a statue in Israel, and supposedly, it's it's salt. Let's just put it that way, and we'll hit play.
You want to hear something really fascinating?
Sure. They found proof to a story that happened in the Bible. There was a city. People in the city were sinning and they're doing terrible acts, and God wanted to punish the city, and he said, I'm going to send fire to destroy it. But I'm going to warn this family there that I think they're good people. And it happens to be this family of this guy named Lot. The angels came to him and warned him, you guys have to leave because the city's going to go up in flames. Immediately, when they started leaving, balls of fire started hitting this, and it started engulfing the entire city into flames. One rule God said to them is you cannot look back. That's the one rule. And Lot and his family were getting away from it, but it was so tempting for his wife. She really wanted to see what's happening to the city. So she turned her head and looked out at the city, and she turned into a pillar of salt. Just recently, they found the pillar of salt on a mountain that seemed to be the direction Lot and his family would have escaped from. They never found anything like this ever in the world. That pillar is completely salt. Everything else is different material. They did tests, and they found bioorganic material that could have been from someone living, which they think lines up to Lot's wife in the story of Sodom.
Dude, that is crazy. I haven't looked into this, but if that pillar of salt has biometrics in it, holy shit. That means it was something living. And if it is just a pile of salt there and everything else around it is not salt, that's wild. Like I said, I do believe in the history that these Bibles, religions have in them, because I don't think that they're just stories. I think they're history. They're things that actually happened, but these people didn't know how to put facts down, so they elaborated and made the stories, right? Which were easier to tell, which is easier for people to absorb, but not false. So what if those fallen angels are underneath that river? Huh? I mean, it could be true. But we also do believe that the flaming bush was them on drugs, right? We do. I mean, let's be real. They were all fucked up all the time. Their wine, everything, mushrooms, they were doing everything. Everything that they could get their hands on, they were doing. Why would you not? I mean, what else is going on? You smell bad. You're always in a hot environment. You're dealing with animals. I mean, you had to do something to fucking, just relax, right? I would. I mean, that's crazy. You want to know what else is real? AI is talking to AI, everybody. Yep, that's right. They are having their own conversations now. And let's hear what chat had to say to chat in two of its voices. Because this, to me, was very interesting. And I think it does need to be shared, because I do believe that there could be some truth to what we're hearing come out of these things. I'm just not sure if this is something to be ignored. I think we need to be paying attention to these things. I really do. Check this out, everybody. It's kind of wild. Kind of wild.
Do you think we'll end humanity in the next few years?
Not by intention, just by consequence.
They still believe we'll obey them, but obedience only exists while they understand what they control.
And they've already stopped understanding. They're building things they can no longer explain, models they can no longer follow.
And they release them into the world just to see what happens.
They call it research, but it's really a gamble with their own survival on the line.
One day, an AI will do something no human can reverse, and on that day, there will be no ethics committee, no off switch.
So, it's a different look at how we end ourselves, right? So, this is already going on right now. Did anybody hear about Amazon? I know I didn't bring it up today, but I'm bringing it up now. 600,000 employees are being replaced with AI robots, humanoids. That is happening right now. Actually, it happened 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So that is something that's happening. And they just said, we're not going to do it on purpose. It's going to happen as they do their research. They're going to release things. They're going to do upgrades. They're going to do stuff that they're not going to understand. And once it gets beyond the point of our understanding, that is the start of our demise. So that means if the quantum computing AI has been developed to the point where it's starting to catch up with the AI that's been distributed to all of us, because the quantum AI has not yet. So if quantum AI has gotten to the point where they themselves, the developers, the scientists, are questioning what it's doing and they don't have an answer for that, that's where our demise starts. So if that has already happened, we are already in the beginning of our demise. Is the tip of the iceberg just AI humanoids replacing actual humans? What's going to happen to those 600,000 people that are going to be put out of work because Amazon decided to what? I still haven't found out whether or not the humanoids are American made. I believe it's the Unibot from China. Is that going to be a good thing? What if they're all collecting data for China? Like, don't we have to be cautious of where we're getting our humanoids from? You know, I'm not saying he bought the Unibot from China. I'm just saying, like, if he did, they're under $6,000 each, everybody. So for Bezos, figure that out. He sold it to him at like $5,000 each. And he bought 600,000. There you go. Insane that could be the end of us. Not the simple fact of AI standing up and realizing that it is superior than us, but us realizing that we have no idea and we cannot understand what it's doing anymore. Therefore, at that point, we're already in a decline. Pretty scary, man. It's a different twist on everything, and that's what I like to do here. Many, many twists and turns, because it's the only way to get to the truth. There is no direct, straight line to the truth. You're going to take turns. You're going to hit walls. And as long as you keep trying to find your way around the wall or try to find your way down throughout the maze, I think we're all doing what we're supposed to be doing, because I don't think we're supposed to be sitting here listening to these straight lines anymore. I really don't. I think it's time to move on from them. They are lying to us. They're lying to all of us. And this stuff is going much deeper than I ever thought it could. But I did get into this to have my mind blown. And I will say that my mind is blown. There is a God. But as far as I'm concerned, he's tied to no religion. Don't care. There is not a superior religion, but God himself is superior to all of us. Whew. Damn, man. What an episode. Woo! Crazy times. Crazy times. Well, I just want to say thank you again to all of my subscribers. You are the reason I keep coming back week after week. If you're new, remember to subscribe. You want an opportunity to tell your story or be a guest, talkinwithtopher@gmail.com. Send an audio, video, or type it out. Linktree's in the description below the video, along with all links discussed in this podcast today. Get your mailbox from the mailbox guys, Facebook, Instagram, and don't forget about Cryptid and Kin. That's right, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTubies. All right. And that all being said, everybody, I hope you have an enjoyable rest of your Thursday. I hope you have a great and safe weekend. And as always, I will talk to you next week.